you just kick it off?
There we go. Hold on a sec. So, guys, welcome. We appreciate you being here again. We got several, guests on here. You're always welcome to come. We do this every Tuesday morning, same Zoom link, the same time every week. The first Tuesday of the month, we kind of have just open forum. So, really, anything that you guys want to bring up, any questions about a deal, anything about marketing, anything about what you're working on in your market that's working or not working, anything you want input on. I mean, again, the more participation, the better. So if you can turn your cameras on, that always helps. Okay, if possible, and just be able to focus in here for 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll dig in here. The more participation, the better. We want to hear from you guys. There's things we can certainly bring up, but just want to hear, what are you seeing? What's going on? And how can we all pitch in together, a true mastermind, and just and help each other and dig in on certain topics. So let's just open it up. First of all, before we call on somebody, I don't know, does anybody have anything that you want to bring up right now? Something you're seeing in the market, in your market with a deal? Ann, go ahead.
I want to ask a question.
Sure.
What are you guys seeing in the marketplace as far as the commissions? Because I just did a rental and something strange. Number one, they asked me for the CBC, which normally I give them a referral sheet asking for a referral. And now the broker has come back and asked for a letter from the broker as an invoice. I think there's so much going on in the gamut. I don't know how we're addressing the commissions anymore with this DOJ stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's a lot. And I think every state, I'm seeing different things in different states. I'm hearing different things, different groups I'm in on Facebook. I'm seeing, a question will come up like that, and there's there's 20 different answers that come in there in terms of how it's being dealt with or how certain agents are handling it. Kathy, what are you seeing with that? I mean, yourself, any thoughts that you have, or anybody want to pitch in anything, maybe what you're seeing with the commission,
to be honest
topic right now?
To be honest with you, I personally have not seen much change. I've not had one client bring it up at all.
Yeah.
And I really haven't heard or seen anything from the client standpoint. Obviously, all the media and, we're seeing things about that in that, the real estate media stuff. But I've not personally experienced anything, or even, as I just said, had a client bring it up. So I am curious if anybody has had clients bring it up to them at all in any way.
I have not either. But I do think it's important, and we need to talk about, and that is, if you're doing your job in following the agreements that are in place, and you explain that to your client or potential client, as the case may be, you're fine. You don't need to worry about it. That's my opinion.
No, one thing that I'll say, and we've had to do this in Tennessee, we have a buyer's agency agreement that if you're going to represent if you're going to represent a client as a buyer's agent, you're supposed to have an upfront conversation with them about that and have a signed agreement. I've learned in different states it's a little different. Wow. So in Tennessee, I feel like we've been having these preliminary conversations with our potential buyers and having an agreement in place. And in our agreement, it says in there how much commission they will have to pay if we can't get it from the seller. When I have a buyer consult, I always say, most of the time I can get the seller to pay my commission, and my commission is X. And, if for any reason we can't, then this is what you would be responsible for paying. And so we've been having those conversations, or supposed to be having those conversations on the front end, establishing a buyer agent relationship. But I don't think every state's that way. Is that true? How about in Colorado, Jeff? Do y'all have to do that on the front end? Are y'all required to do that on the front end?
Yeah, I mean, we're, and I know some of the other, there's several Colorado agents on here. I mean, and Steve being the, former broker owner, Fred's up there, Suzanne. Um, I mean, I've always addressed it right up front, the commission stuff. But again, going back to like, nothing has come up for us so far with any of the deals that my wife and I have done where there's been an issue of any kind or questions from any buyers or anybody that we're working with. I mean, I always, when we meet with the buyers, we talk about it right up front. We've always done that. Here's how this works, and it's in the buyer agency agreement that we have, and we discussed, of course, the sellers. They know what's going on. We I don't know. We break it all down right up front. But
So how is anybody addressing this? Or are you bringing it up? Or I'd love to hear, as Steve had asked, like, is anybody having it brought up, or are you bringing it up?
I'm curious, like Heather back in Indiana, I don't know if you don't mind unmuting yourself. I mean, just because you're a big agent back there doing a lot of deals. What do you? Heather's my cousin, by the way, my second cousin. So it's good to have you on here.
Hey.
What do you? Are you seeing any? Does anything come up back there with the deals you're working on? You're working on some higher end stuff back there with what you're doing. What's going on back there with it?
Well, I actually just had a meeting this morning with my managing broker, which is, I just said, how do we handle it? So only one time, and this was like 3 years ago before this lawsuit even was taking place, I had a seller say, I've never paid a buyer's agent. And it was not a thing at that time. And I said, at that time, I said, then you really need to be a FSBO, because she was an older lady, didn't have retirement. Her husband passed away. She was in a bad place, but that's the only time that I've ever seen that come up. And then I actually just printed this off. I probably am going to start using it, but it was more on the Illinois side, because in Indiana, we've always been very transparent. This is what the commission, you're paying this to me, you're paying this to a buyer's agent. And so my managing broker just said that she thinks that we should just, when we go on listing appointments, to keep this from becoming an issue, just bring comps. This is what your competition is paying out. This percent, this is down the street. We're not doing ourselves a service by paying out 0%, because that buyer, with the interest rates and everything that they are now, it's going to be hard for them to buy your house. So they're probably more likely to not see your house, because, and then on those websites like IAR for us, it breaks down pages and pages, like stuff that you don't realize we do, but it just breaks down what a buyer's agent is doing. And so I think I'm going to have that printed out, plus this, if it seems like it's going to become an issue, and just say, all right, let's, and you can even put in further conditions so that they don't feel the pressure. Let's see, next page. Just both agent and buyer have the right to cancel this agreement with an email notification or something like that. So it's in writing, so they don't feel like I'm stuck to you, or I have to pay you, or, I don't know. It's new territory,
Yeah, for sure.
Is anybody using Forewarn, by the way?
I know my wife uses it. Forewarn.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Not only for your security, but also when we're trying to find addresses of people, just to mail them things if you get a new lead. But yeah, it shows if
Are you guys familiar with Forewarn? Anybody not familiar with Forewarn?
Never heard of it.
Can you
It's
explain, Heather?
amazing.
Tell everybody what it is. Tell everybody what it does.
Yeah, so I used to pay for it. I think it was like $70 for the year, but I'll pull it up on my phone.
And
So
while
it
you're
looks
doing that, everyone
right
gets that
there.
now with NAR, right?
I'm pretty sure, but
Mhm.
you just open it up, and of course it uses your face. So all you do is put in the phone number or the name if you know where these people are from, but the phone number is the best. And then you also know if it's spam, and it pulls them up with all of their previous addresses, if they have any kind of criminal record or bankruptcies, things like that. But then the only reason of course, if it's a new client, I want to make sure that they're not, a criminal or something, but to get their address, because, the second you make contact, get a note card with your business card, handwrite a note, send it out, start sending automatic mailings every month, and farm them very well. So
Yeah. And I know, like, my wife uses it all the time. We get a sign call or something. They want to see the house. I mean, so she'll put them in Forewarn, just like, okay, who am I going to meet? I mean, it's just another barrier, a little bit of a barrier of protection to some degree,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
just to know, like, you know, should I go show this house or not? Or should I go meet with these people or not? You just, a lot of
Exactly.
things out there, especially, you know, for the ladies here. Us tough guys, you know, we're good, but no, I'm just kidding. So, um, Sean, and again, you know, you got so much background here. Do you have any thoughts on what are you seeing as far as with you with the commission, you know, the commission issue? Has it come up at all with you and your group in any way, or how are you handling it, Sean?
Yeah, sure. It's been something that's been a topic at some of the meetings that I go to for sure.
Sure.
I've personally not encountered much of it. I probably approach it a different way than I think most do when I encounter those lower BACs and things like that. You know, part of our agreement is that the buyer would pick up the shortage, right? That's the way, you know, one of the ways you can approach it, and asking the buyer, hey, I'm great to show you that X house, but you know, it's going to cost another 1% in order to make, you know, us whole based on our agreement that we have in place. You know, is that something you're willing to do? I've really never had that conversation, but I know that's one of the objections people work through and do that. For me, if I've got a house that's listed and the seller is not getting any activity, will they consider paying something else if we were able to secure them an offer that they were willing to accept? And I know that's kind of that gray space that that they may not like us getting into that conversation, because it's really between brokers, not, you know, not between the broker and then the seller. So that's been something that's worked over the years that I've kind of worked through that way. Um, you know, I haven't had enough of it here in Dallas Fort Worth that it's been as much of a challenge for me. But keep in mind, I also 80% of what I do is selling houses, right? You know, I mean, I move probably about 30 million a year in real estate, and almost all of it's listings or it's investor related. So then we multiply the number of transactions that I work. But I pay, you know, I pay market commission on every listing that I have. You know, I don't want to hurt my seller. I want to move things quick.
Right.
And my sellers are pretty open to, you know, if that's what it takes to move. You know, keep in mind, I think people lose sight of the fact that the sales price has that as part of the process, and part of the cost to sell is built into whatever that market sales price is. So when the sales price is, you know, 300,000, we're not going to go, you know, 305 and then cut the commission, right? I mean, the marketplace says 300 includes the cost to sell as part of the price to sell. You know, and that's been a conversation that I have with sellers just as an education. Like, you know, if you're like FSBOs run into this all the time, they try to say, I'll save that and still get market rate, but they don't do any of the work to move the property. So they never are able to ever actually sell the property. In order to get that market rate that they want, you have to do the work. And most of them can't do all of the things that we're doing in order to cover that shortage. You know, that's a few thoughts. I don't know if that really
They're
helps you
great
or not, but
points. No,
some
those are
things
great
that I've
points.
run into.
Yeah.
And something that you just said, Sean, made me think too, when you mentioned for sale by owners. I don't know the exact statistic for this past year's numbers, but one of y'all may. Historically speaking, a for sale by owner sells for 12 to 13% less. Like they net 12 to 13% less. So, you know, to your point, if they don't want to pay a commission and they don't want to have somebody, you know, handling the whole transaction through that, as you said, you know, to some of your clients, you should just be a for sale by owner, like Heather told her client, you know, a couple of years ago. But, you know, if they're trying not to pay commissions, then the buyer's trying to save that same commission. So both parties are trying to save the same money. And so where does it come into play? Right? Somebody's going to have to give one way or another. And so, you know, that's a conversation to also have, I think, you know, with our clients through this, you know, transition as it comes up. I mean, personally, I'm not, and I wouldn't imagine any of us are bringing it up if it's not being brought up.
I'll tell you one quick thing. I always think about this. This has to do with like even working with a new build, or in your model or your example, if you ended up with the same net, why would you do any of the work? Okay, so you're a FSBO. I'm going to net the same as if I had hired someone, but now you get to do all of the work. Why not just have someone do the work for you and your net's the same? I say the same thing for builders. The tract builders are not going to reduce their price, the commission, because they would be sabotaging themselves with realtors. So it's going to be the same price whether you have an agent or not. So why not have someone work at no cost to you on your behalf? I have a kind of a training I do for new builds, and that's some of the things that I cover. The number one thing we have is we have a representation, and they're separating the principals and doing something in respect to taking care of our side of the transaction. I think that's invaluable, and I think we always lose sight of what the value of that is.
Yeah, good point.
It's good. And you mentioned, I mean, and I've done this multiple times over the years, like with the buyers, let's say, I'll have that conversation with them. Hey, there's a shortage in our fee, with this property, and if this is the property that you want, like, I want you to get the property you want. I'm not going to let my commission, my fee get in the way of you getting what you want. There is a shortage in our fee. Would you be able to cover that fee? And we talk about, we explain all that up front, but then here's this house, we go list it. Now, one of the things I've done multiple times over the years, like, look, we'll take the hit on this. Would you be willing, just understand, and I explain it, here's all the places where this commission money is going. I got to pay my broker. We pay our E&O insurance. We pay, here's our marketing costs. I kind of break it down sometimes just so they can see I'm not walking away with 100% of this check that I'm getting. You think I'm walking away with this big check. I'm not afraid to just kind of spell some of that out for them so they can really see. And then, look, this is how I pay my bills. This is how I feed my family. This is how I, pay for my daughter's wedding coming up in September. This is how I'm paying. This is what we do. This is our livelihood. We are taking a hit. Would you be willing to send me 2 additional referrals over the next, 6 months, to just help cover, some of this? We'll take the hit for you. I want you to get this house. Would you be willing to send us a couple buyers or sellers over the next, 6 months? And a lot of times they're like, oh, heck yeah. Like they're happy to do it. And I'll get it in writing, and I'm not going to hold that to them, but it just kind of puts it in their head that, like, wow, and I'll call them back a couple months later, 3 months later. Hey, just checking in and hope the new house is great. Just by the way, I know we talked about, the shortage that we have. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? Anything come up with any coworkers or neighbors or anything? You know anything, or people at church, whatever? And, oh yeah, this so and so. We've had multiple referrals over the years because we took the hit, in the commission. So it's led to more deals. There's lots of ways to cover things here without just taking a hit and, tail between our legs and we go, whine about it. It's just, anyway. So things to think about there. There's ways to turn this into our favor in a good way, because we need it. We're all working hard. So, any other thoughts on the commission? Tracy, are you able to unmute yourself? Tracy Wiggins?
Hey, sure. Yeah.
There you go. You had a couple comments on you said, tell us what, let's see, it's built into the Georgia contract.
Yeah. So, I wasn't even paying attention to it. Shame on me, but I did see that it was written that the buyer is responsible for the commission less any compensation offered by the seller. So I have a situation even now with the client, and like you, I explained up front that, this is the commission that we expect. And so if you choose a home that's paying less, we are looking for you to make up a difference. Well, she ended up choosing a home that was paying only 2%. And I said, there's a 1% difference. And I knew she had the money for sure. We went back and forth a little bit. She didn't like it, you know what I mean? But I told her, so it's there in the contract. Well, send me another copy of it. But she has worked me to death. And so she finally got over it. And I'm like, nobody has worked me like you, lady. I know you're going to give me this difference, And so that's that case. But I have one even now here in Nashville that they lost a family member. So we were looking at the bottom line, doing the numbers. And I said, the commissions for the agents are going to be this. And well, do we have to use an agent? Oh my God. I said, well, yeah, it's in your best interest to use the agent. And I explained the benefits of having us and how the exposure is different. And if you end up with an investor, you're going to end up losing anyway. So it's in your best interest. Oh, let me think about that. So yeah, they go a little bit back and forth, but when you express the value, and I absolutely love, I can't remember who just said it, but the idea of showing them what other people are paying, I never even thought of that. That was genius. This is what the other agents are paying their prospective buyer agents. So just want to make sure we're up to par and we're not looking behind, because they're going to skip your house, so you don't want that. So yeah, I'm loving everything I'm hearing, but yeah, in Georgia, they have it built in, and it's all about explaining our value, I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
For sure. You guys, anybody working some new builds, new construction? That's a big thing going right now, more and more, and a lot of programs that the builders are having, at least we're seeing that here, where whatever, use their lender and the rates are lower, different things that they're doing. You guys working any new builds at all? Or clients
I had
looking
a
for new
builder
builds?
reach out to me, but he only wanted to pay me 0.5%. I said, but you still want all of my marketing? And I go, yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, but no. Said,
Oh
what, you
my.
know, times how many? I said, no, thank you. I'd rather door knock.
They're
Yeah.
going lower and lower. I have to agree. They're going lower and lower. I think Ryan. had-
0.5%.
Yeah, that's the worst I've ever heard. But well, no, I've heard $1. I had one that tried to pay me $1,
Oh
but
my.
that's the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Asheville, yeah, $1. But the builders are halving the commission and stuff, so that's a little bit disappointing. But
Yeah.
but I'm working a lot of them, Jeff, and they are offering those incentives, and our lenders are getting, our preferred lenders are getting upset. Our preferred lenders are getting upset to our clients having to move to their preferred lenders to get those incentives, which I
Mhm.
still think they build it all into the price. But yeah, working with a lot of new construction.
Right.
Yeah, like 4.99%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Mhm.
We're seeing some of that. Cool, cool. Who else has something you want to talk about? A topic, the hot topics out there these days. Joseph just got his Starbucks or whatever that is. There you go. Looks good, Joseph.
We're at the front end of, spring about to kick off. Are y'all seeing an increase in your market area with listings or activities? Curious to hear what people are starting to see. I'm definitely seeing some more movement in the market here in Nashville. How about everywhere else? What are y'all seeing in your marketplaces?
It's weird. I mean, it's definitely, there's a, I had a buyer just recently, we put in a showing request and there was no response. So I called the listing agent and said, are we going to get to see this today or do I need to pick another day? And she said, we've had multiple offers and he's letting them expire. He's not allowing showings. I mean, and the seller won't even respond to her. So I feel really bad because I don't know if there's a lot of sellers that are feeling pressured because they can't make their mortgage, but they don't want to sell and they're angry, I don't know, but there's not a lot of inventory, but we just changed MLSs too. So I'm in constant trainings. I don't know why we changed platforms, but so I think a lot of people here in Northwest Indiana are holding off because now we're opening Flex MLS. So, but yeah, it's slim pickings right now. And then I'm actually sending letters to homeowners. I'm telling my buyers, okay, pick a neighborhood that you like and I'll send out letters, or if you have specific addresses, which they did. And I sent out, letters yesterday saying, I've got ready, willing, and able buyers. Are you thinking about selling? Because we're having to get creative because there's not a lot on the market. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's a good time. I know we talk about, I don't want to over talk this, but it is a good time to be sending out those video CMAs that we talk about all the time, with some extra time. Again, we've had trainings on that. That just works well in terms of getting some dialogue going between people, and to send that out, if you can do 4 or 5 of those a day, and really takes, no more than 45 minutes. Once you get doing them, you can get in a routine. I can put one together literally in 10 minutes because I've done so many of them. It's just, it gets easier and easier like anything you do, but to send those out to people, you'll get some response going. You'll get some referrals, people that, because you always ask at the end, is there anybody if there's anybody this would be helpful for, let me know. I'm happy to put one of these together. And it's a quick little 3 to 4 minute video. You're not, chewing their ear off for 10 minutes. They're not going to watch that, but a little 4 or 5 minute, 3 to 4 minute video, 3 to 5 minute video with just a one screenshot of the actives, pendings, and solds around them that are comparable, and send that out to past clients and, prospects that come in, leads that come in that you can tell they own a home. Just send them one, get those out to people, and you'll get some response on that, referrals, but also, if you'd like a more accurate analysis, I'm happy to come by and take a quick 10 to 15 minute look at your house, and we can get much more honed in on the price of what your home would sell for. Just let me know, and it's just an update on the market. Everybody's wondering about the market. Everybody wonders about the market right now. Hey, just want to give you a quick update on what's going on with your house. Just a little thing you can do like that. We've talked about it many times, so not to belabor that, but that's something good to do. Kind of what you're saying, Heather. Just looking for more sellers. You'll pick up some people there. We are coming into that season for sure. There was an article in our paper here today in Colorado Springs how the February market did a rebound. Whatever. We saw a little bit of that. I think it slowed back down. The rates are playing into that big time. Comes below 7, the phones go off the hook. Whatever. It goes back up over 7, and everything just stops again. It's kind of been this a little bit here lately here. Kind of what I'm seeing. Suzanne, are you seeing that? She's here in town. Are you kind of seeing Same thing here, Colorado Springs, a little bit of that. Yeah. You're muted right now. Sorry. You're muted, Suzanne. We can't hear Suzanne. We can't hear you, Suzanne. You were muted. Sorry.
Oh, sorry about that.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing.
Up and
I'm
down.
actually putting an offer together right now, so.
Oh, are you? Oh, there you go. Good.
Wish me luck.
There you go. Go get them. So, what else are you guys seeing with the market?
I
You know,
have a
diff-
question.
Yeah, go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, so what's the average time that you think that a person stays in their home before they're ready to sell? For instance, I'm going into my 7th year, and so I'm thinking I know for sure I probably need to go back to the ones that I sold their homes at my 1st year, and let them know of their equity and everything you're speaking of now. But what do you think is the average time from your experience, yours and Kathy, that they stay in their homes before they're ready to sell?
What do you think, Kathy? I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say about 7 years actually,
Yeah.
I think it was about 5 years, and
Mm.
over the recent years, I think I've seen numbers that actually are showing it's more like 7 to 8 years now.
Okay, because I was thinking 5, but I said it may be too soon. So great, I'm on track.
Yeah.
Life changes for everybody, that's just the average. And so, I mean, I would I would say don't hesitate to be reaching out to your people, right? If it's only been 4 or 5 years, because you just never know when life circumstances are going on for anybody, and it's being top of mind at the
Yeah.
time that they're thinking to make that move.
Yeah.
Yes, very true. So just, hey, here's your equity, here's where you are, and it may be a help, for them to just know.
Well, and Jeff, you can talk more about this since you kind of have been doing this, but with the video, if you're talking, Tracy, about the video CMAs, the market went nuts 2 years ago, right? So people that have been in their house for the last 4 years, their prices, their values, and most people's equity positions are quite a lot, right? If they bought 4 or 5 and plus years ago. And so for all of those people, doing a video CMA, because they may not even be thinking about making a move, but when they see how much their house is potentially worth,
Yeah,
it may create that thought in their mind. And so for anybody that's been in their house for 4+ years,
yeah,
I think doing what Jeff's talking about is great, because the prices have gone so much.
right. And it creates that conversation and puts you front top of
Right.
mind, like you said.
Yep. Yep.
I think to keep in mind, guys, there's always going to be people that have to sell. I think a lot of people that don't have to, they're hanging tight a little bit, the economy and the rates, and they got a good rate and just different things. But there's always going to be situations where people have to make a move, whether it's a job situation, whether it's a military move, whether it's a death in the family, whether there's, people wanting to get closer to family because of, aging parents or whatever, divorce situations, the probate sales. Kathy did a training a while back on working with people with divorce. We've had 2 trainings. If you go back into the archives, and all these are recorded on probates. Michael Higdon did a great one. Tracy, who else did one? Tracy
Brown.
Yeah, Trace Brown. On probates. They built their businesses around that. Michael does 40, 50 deals a year with probates. Picking up 70 leads a month with probates there, with where he's at. Different sites that you can go to get those, and to get in with a good probate attorney, and and establish some rapport with them. And next thing you know, they're sending you business because there's a death in the family here, and all the rest of the family's out of state, and they need to sell this house, and it's all part of that process. And the service you're able to provide with that is really good. So there's always going to be those situations, and I think there's ways to market towards some of that, in the sense of just being looking for some of that business that's out there. So there are a lot of people. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kathy.
I was just like curious talking about that. Does anybody intentionally go after focus on a state situation, where there's been a death? Does anybody really proactively seek that business out? Just curious. Because the reason I ask is I'm working one now. I just worked one probably 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And those situations, at least my experience, every single time I have worked those, and I have not proactively sought them out, but I think I might for this reason. Those Whoever's in charge of handling the estate, nine, well, really every time for me, so but I'm gonna say at least 9 out of 10 times, they're completely lost. They're overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. And it really is a great service as an agent when you can step in and you can be their guide through that process where the house is concerned, because they just have no clue. Like they just inherited this house, or they're the executor of the estate or the will, and they don't even know where to start. And so, just curious if anybody really focused on that. These have just come through referrals for me, but because I see what a great benefit it is to having a guide like myself or one of y'all, it really is an area that I may pursue.
I'm doing an estate right now as well, but we're not going to have pictures until, about a month out, because he is making it a little bit nicer, because and I have a tradesman's for, I have a cheap,
Yeah.
he's great, but he's an affordable painter. And the roof was really bad. It was from 1994. It had never been replaced. And he's like, yeah, but a lot of agents said you just sell it as is. And I said, okay, but this is a gorgeous, enormous house on a private lake. So you want top dollar. I said, has there ever been a claim on the roof? And he goes, well, actually, I had a claim because there was hail. And I said, so you've been paid? Well, yeah. I said, okay, well, my father-in-law and my brother-in-law are State Farm agents. I said, and I've had this come up before where I had the buyer. There's a record, and all of the insurance companies now know that there's been a claim that's been paid on it. So they think that there's a new roof. So our buyer's going to have a problem getting insurance because they think that you have a new roof. So it's going to be an issue, and the drone is going to look so much nicer with a fresh roof, and they had the money, so he agreed, and he's doing these little repairs and things like that. But what do you guys think about going to attorneys and just kind of presenting yourself? Like, what's a good way to go to attorneys for divorces, or like how to partner with them? What are your thoughts?
Anybody besides Kathy and me, who wants to jump in?
No, we want that wisdom. Come on with it.
I personally have found, unless you have an in that someone knows that attorney, it's very difficult to get in the door to even talk to them.
Okay.
So if you have a title rep or an escrow person or somebody that really knows that attorney, you might have a better chance of getting in the door to talk to them.
Okay. I know one from church. I think I might just set up a call or something, or even Facebook message him.
Or even somebody that you've worked with on a previous transaction that's an attorney. You have a better chance of being able to talk to them, get through that secretary or receptionist or whatever in the front office, because they don't have a lot of time, and they're not going to give somebody a lot of time unless they really know them or have had somebody that really refers them to them. It doesn't matter how many sales you show them that you've done in the year. They don't care. They want to know who you've worked with and whether they can feel comfortable with you.
I have a few comments on this stuff.
Go ahead, Sean.
All right, so this is a business model that's kind of been landed on me the last few years, because I've flipped a little over 100 houses here in Dallas-Fort Worth, and about 50 of them in my name. So I developed relationships with contractors and other things. But what happened is I have family members that have real estate, and it gets left to them. I'm at the age now my friends' parents are at stages where they're looking at making that transition. 9 times out of 10, the house has been sitting there for 20 years, 30 years. They're not making upgrades on it. They just need a place to live. They're comfortable living there. So it creates an opportunity for them to be able to put a little bit of money into it and kind of have that last opportunity to make money on an asset they already have. I've actually done this exact scenario in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I did it in Tacoma, Washington. I did it in Sun City West, Arizona, and I've done it a couple of other places. But basically, the family says, hey, we got this real estate we don't know what to do with. And then I advise them. I say, well, let's get some contractors out there. Let's get some estimates. Let's look at some comps, and I'll find a local agent, and then I'll partner with them. And what I've done is I've kind of created a turnkey operation where they come to me with the problem. And then now I'm the conduit in between everybody, and I coordinate everything. I coordinate the contractors, the agents, getting it listed, getting it staged. And then I show them, grandma's got, $300,000 in her account right now. If she put 50 in the house, we'll bring her back 65. And I present that to them and the family. They're like, what do we got to lose? Just like Heather was saying, there's plenty of upside, and you're putting money that's going to pretty much guarantee a return, right? Buying it as is really going to shot your market. And you guys know you're in the market, you're in the business. So knowing where to put some money in specific spaces can really make a big difference. There's that. And then the other one, I did a podcast with a estate planning attorney, and I looked at it and we were talking through this. And I said, man, if I'm an attorney and I'm dealing with estate issues and wills and things like that, my number one problem is I can't take that house and cut it in 3 pieces. So either we sell it or everybody gets a piece. And that's very frustrating to deal with. And I provide them solutions on how to resolve that issue. What we do with this real estate is the most complex problem. Everything else can generally be worked out. All the personal items, all the assets, all the bank accounts, all the Roth 401ks, well, all that stuff can be worked out. But real estate, you can't cut in half. So it's just, it's a value add service that you can be a liaison to the attorney. Now, I'll tell you one thing. I did 3 divorces in the last year. And I want you to remember this: when you're doing a divorce, you now have 3 parties. You got the spouses, that's 2 parties now. And then you have the other side. If they're selling a property, you've got the husband and the wife, and the one that's in there is going to be the one that's going to be most reluctant to work through it, because they all have competing interests now. It's no longer we're a team. We're not going to share the same net. Now it's going to be, I want more money or I want out. And you've got to figure out how to get them to work together before you even start talking to the buy side. So it's a 3-party transaction when you're doing divorces. Keep that in mind.
Well, and I would say, adding on to what Sean said about going into attorneys, obviously they're busy, and it's maybe having a one sheet about the value that you could bring them, like what's in it for them to even consider to work with you. And then I would also add in a box of donuts or something, right? It's like the reciprocation, right? Send them something to their office, maybe with a 1 sheet or a half-page sheet about what would be the value with them to partner with you, and keeping the attorney in mind, and how you could help benefit, their client, because they should be looking out for the best interest of their client as well, just like we do. And so it's what are the things that you bring to the table that could make them look good, that could value their client. So just another thought about that, and getting in front of an attorney. And donuts are always good. People, they're always a good bribe. But yeah, so what else, what other input on that or other topic? We've got about 20 minutes or so.
I think, go ahead. Anybody have anything real quick?
Yeah, I wanted to ask
Go ahead,
about
Joseph.
the probate situation. You say that there's a guy that was getting like almost 70 leads in a year or something.
Michael
like
Higdon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's a training that's available. If you go into, if you're a guest with us, you can go to our Freedom Team YouTube page. For those of you part of EXP and Freedom Team, you can go into the workplace group, click on the learning tab, and under the transactions list of trainings, if you scroll back a ways, you'll find Michael's training, and Tracy, again, who was it, Kathy? Oh,
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown, I'm sorry. And Jackie Brown and Michael Higdon, they both did trainings on probates and how they do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's all in there. Yeah. You can find that. Okay, Taylor, you have a question?
Good morning, everybody. So this is a two-part question. First part of the question, I know someone just said that you can check. Well, I've heard this in the past, but someone just brought up being able to see the, oh gosh, my brain just went blank. Claims. So like claims on a roof and things like that. If there was a claim, I know I was in a training a while back and someone said that there is a website that you can go to and you can check that stuff. Is anybody on here familiar with what that site would be? If so, can you drop it in the comments? And then the second part of that is you're talking about like dealing with two different married people. I'm actually dealing with that right now, where I think where I'm running into the situation, I have the wife who is not living in the home. The ex-husband lives there with a new wife. And I don't think they really want to leave. It's a situation where they have to leave. And so he's being very difficult. He's very difficult to communicate with. And I just really don't know. I mean, I've made so many suggestions. The house has been on the market a little over 40 days now. I suggested after 17 days that we reduce the price. I already felt like it was priced a little bit high because he had not done any kind of upgrades or anything like that. So we're 45 days in. They agreed, not necessarily they agreed in a court document that after 30 days, they would reduce the price by 3%. So I don't know how I enforce that because it's hard to communicate with him. And then she's just like, whatever. So I just don't know how to move forward with this. And I've done pretty much all that I can think to do, but I just don't think this house is going to sell at the price that it's listed. Question is, I guess, more of a advice on how to move forward with that part.
I'll pray for you because I know I've been in that situation, but yeah, that is rough. I had a lady she was always cussing me out, acting like I was, trying to do something. And, we would be on three-way with the attorney and she's just, I said, I asked you if you didn't want to sell. I said, but this divorce, it was a nightmare. And the buyer's trying to walk through. She was like, you better hope I don't spray paint mother effer. But she said the word, all over the basement because I got her 30 days post-possession. I mean, she just strong-handed the entire thing. And my blood pressure was through the roof. So I feel for you, Taylor. I really do.
Taylor,
Hey,
I've had situations like that as well, Taylor. And I've had to communicate only with the attorney many times, when they get so fired up like that. I'll say, hey, fighting like dogs, man. So what can we do? And I've had to communicate through the attorney who will make things happen as far as that 3% decrease in things. They'll make it happen.
And then my thing with this is, I'm sorry to jump in there, but it's not so much that he's not like mean or anything like that. It's just difficult to communicate. And he likes to give off this air that, oh, me and my ex-wife, we get along. We're seeing eye to eye. But I'm like, but y'all are not seeing eye to eye. And I'm trying to manage the emotions because I know that there's underlying emotions that are not being presented, but it's very like passive. And I just really don't. And I feel like I'm very much a people person. I just really don't know how to break through that barrier to get things accomplished. And I don't like that. It makes me feel like I'm failing.
Well, one is that we've had several situations. This is DC out in California. And we have a situation like that. Number one is that we don't have control over that because what you're dealing with anger, you're dealing with somebody that's scorned, you're dealing with emotions. So what we've had to do is that I think Tracy, the attorney, said, hey, you just got to go to court. And that because what happens is that the judge is gonna hit that gavel and will make the decision because we try to get involved and it's something that number one is that we don't want to look like we're taking anybody's side. We have to be totally neutral and that our job is just to go out there and just handle the business. So what we've had to do is we have to just go right back to court and make sure that the judge will force everything. It will demand everything. Or if that person does not carry it out, then the judge will go on and make the decisions themselves. But you end up losing your mind trying to, figure it out yourself.
Well, and kind of to that point, Taylor, to that point is you could just tell that if it's the guy in this situation, you could just tell him, like look, you guys may end up back in court. I'm trying to help you guys get this house moved along, get it sold. But even just say that, I wouldn't threaten it, but it is a possibility, you know, especially if the wife, the ex-wife, if she's wanting to get the house sold, then that is going to be her recourse, is to take him back to court and let the judge make that final decision. And so if you just let him know, like, you're just trying to get this process moved along with the MDA, because there should be an MDA, the Merit Dissolution Agreement, right? That in this case, I would imagine dictates the house to be sold by a certain day, listed by a certain day. And just say, you know, if we don't meet the timeline of this, now you're going to run the risk of being back in court, paying more court costs, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to help you, you know, and whoever the ex-wife is, I'm trying to help you guys avoid that scenario. Sometimes that will move people along. You know, I never try to threaten it, but I just let him know, like, that's a possibility. If we can't figure out how to work together to, you know, get the property sold.
It's good.
Thank you. That's good advice.
Definitely. Something, guys, just real quick, and I need to run here because I told Kathy I've got a dentist appointment that I got to go to. But I want to share my screen here just real fast before I take off, just to show you guys a couple things. Okay. So if you look at this here, you guys can see my screen. Just home prices, you know, what's ahead, what everybody is saying it's ahead. Here's the thing, what I want to hit on, you know, like, again, consumer confidence, you know, there's still people who are, you know, there's talk of this crash. We're not going to hit this crash. Okay. That's not happening. We had 9 million foreclosures in 2009. You know, you'll hear the headlines right now, foreclosures on the rise, all that kind of stuff, putting fear in people. What was it last quarter? They were like 60,000, something like that. Like, we're nowhere near, not even a pinprick compared to 2009. 1 in 5 still believe that prices are going to go down. And I think it's up to us to understand the market, understand what's going on. It's a great time to be studying this stuff. And we need to lead the way in helping people to understand it. So you could do some videos. You could do a 5-minute video with a few of these kind of slides and get the information out there and send this out to your people, you know, and do some different things if you have a YouTube channel. You know, here's what happened in 2023. You know, things went up. You know, everybody saw this, the percent increase. Across the board, you know, metro areas, 20 cities here, you know, whatever. Again, this recording will be up. You can take screenshots of this if you want to. But here you can see it all across the country. You know, this right here, I like this quote. Looking back at the year 2023 appears to have exceeded average annual home price gains over the past 35 years. While we're not experiencing the double-digit gains seen in the previous 2 years, above trend growth should be well received considering the rising costs of financing home mortgages. Okay. House prices rose in 49 states between Q4 of 2022 and Q4 of 23. Hawaii was the exception. House prices rose in 96 of the top 100 largest metropolitan areas over the last 4 quarters. You know, all 9 census divisions had positive house price changes year over year. Here it is across the country. You can kind of see what's going on here. Okay. The way things did increase in 2023 year over year. And then you got this by state, you know, everything, you know, went up across the board. Now, again, not the double digits that we had over those 2 years, which those 2 years were not normal years by any means. Okay. But I think it's up to us to know. Hold on. It's up to us to know. What's that? Go ahead, Kathy. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's up to us to understand and learn this stuff. And we need to be the ones educating. That's our job. We're realtors. You know, we're the ones that need to lead the consumers in helping to understand past the headlines and see what's going on. Here's the forecast for 2024, you know, across the board. You know, it's an increase. Okay. And if you look at this back in November of last year, here's what all these different groups forecasted for this year. They have since changed that. Here's what they're saying right now. And it's all positive. And then this is what I really like here is when you get to what's coming. If you look at this, you know, again, you know, here it is, just a graph of that going over the next, you know, what, 4 years, 5 years. This year, every year, this is a long-term forecast. There's any number of things that could change this. None of us have that crystal ball. Okay. But this is what the experts are saying right now. You know, Potential growth in household wealth over the next 5 years based solely on increased home equity if you purchase a $400,000 home in January 2024. This is what it looks like. It's still such a great investment. Is it 2021? No, but it's more normal. This is what's happening. Okay. And to just be able to educate your clients on that, you could put together a 5-minute video or something, send that out, post it, do different things with it, but be the expert. That's what we're called to be. And you will get paid for being the expert. Okay. Or not. But I think we're called to lead the way in this. So anyway, Kathy, not to jump in, I do need to take off, but just some thoughts on that. I got that through Keeping Current Matters. Every Monday, they put out, this weekly deep dive. It's all available. All those slides are available. They do like a 15-minute kind of update on all kinds of stuff. There were slides I took out of that, but I'll post those. I can post that up into the workplace group for sure. But and if you have Keeping Current Matters, you can get it in there as well. So any thoughts on that, Kathy, at all?
I mean, what I think is most important about that is, as you saw, all those sources are all positive, right? In what their
100%.
prediction is going to be. Where if the media, the general media, it's like doom and gloom, right, in the real estate space. And so, to Jeff's point, we can be the voice out there, and we can share the truth about really what the industry experts are saying about the predictions for the next 5 years. And so I love the idea of just shooting a 5-minute video, like you said, Jeff. So
yeah,
you
can do that every week. Different things. I think we just need to be that person. We need to be that expert. Get educated on everything going on out there, and you can be that person that your clients and prospects look up to. Like, this is the person we need to, tie our wagon to here and go with this person. This is the one that knows what's going on, and you show them that through stuff like that. So anyway, but
any
cool.
comments from anybody
And you're
about
welcome.
that?
I started to type in there and I got sidetracked. So it's great to have
That's
you. Thanks for
okay.
coming. You're all welcome every Tuesday. All of you who are guests with us. Okay. We'll be back next week. I'm going to take off. Kathy, you can take it from here. Thanks, everybody. Guys, have a great day. Okay.
Jeff. Anybody else have any comments around that? What he just shared?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think that that's a really great idea. Oh, sorry, Ann.
I'm sorry, I need to leave because I have to meet with my broker since her husband's going to surgery tomorrow. We have to talk about things going on in the office and that. So I have to leave because I have to be.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming. And if anybody needs to leave, you can jump off.
Thank you much. I enjoyed listening and contributing a little and asking a couple of questions. And thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you for being on. Heather, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, I think that this is a great roundtable. I love that we're all doing this, but it might be a smart idea. Yes, definitely. Because I have a YouTube, but I don't frequent it. I've been doing TikTok, and I don't think that's where I should really be. But it would be a great idea if somebody, you all partner up, even if we're out of different states, and just went live. I hate going live, but when you go live, it throws it out there, and you just sit there and you have, a breakdown of what you're going to have a conversation of. Know ahead of time. Act like you're not, what are you seeing in your market? Well, I'm seeing this, but we're short on inventory. You know what I mean? And just break down all of the things. And I don't want to talk about the lawsuit, I probably wouldn't even bring that up, but just, yeah, we don't have enough. So there's multiple offers, and sellers are, I know the news is saying this, but just kind of breaking down on going live so that everybody, I don't know. I don't like to do that, but just to partner with somebody, like I said, even if it's you from Nashville and me from Indiana, what are you seeing? Because we're all learning from each other,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we should be putting on our counselor hat. And if you go at the thing and say, look, in this, heated situation, somebody has to be the sound of reason. And I think the realtor is the best source of that, because you're not tied to all the personal things going on. What they're really looking for is they're looking for somebody to calmly guide them through the thing. And yes, you have to confront, just like a counselor, if you're a psychologist, they have to confront, but they confront in a way that is obviously for the benefit of the other people.
Yeah.
Yep, we definitely are counselors.
What about pop-by gifts? Is anybody doing those?
Yeah. Pop-by gifts, anybody doing those? To your database?
I have before for Valentine's Day. I wanted to do it this year, but I didn't get around to it. But at Hobby Lobby, I don't know if everybody has Hobby Lobby, but they have these house-shaped boxes, and you just get some kind of fillers in there. And then we have Albany's candy, which now they provide candy to all over the place, but just chocolate-covered pretzels and raisins, whatever, you know, gummy bears are really cheap. And just, hey, if you have any referrals, please think of me, you know. And I had to leave it at the front door many times, but people like that. I know people do pies at
An
Thanksgiving.
agent in town that does something every month, and she mails it. She doesn't do the pop by, but she always comes up with the cutest little sayings. Like I'm sure she did one for St. Patty's Day this month, right? But she'll come up with some kind of cute saying about that's business related, but tied to, you know, to the to whatever the month is that she's mailing it out. And she'll just do little things, you know, like maybe just some kind of four clover, what is it? The clover, 4-leaf clover, like cookie or something with the little thing tied to it. But then she'll mail those out in little packages. And she was a new agent about 4 years ago, and she's iconed every year because with EXP, because she sells 30, 40, 60 houses. She's up to about 50, 60 houses now, only been an agent 4 years, but she's consistently done that every single month with her past clients. And so if you don't have the time or want to make the time to go pop by, just do that, you know, get something little just to be in front of your people all the time. What's Eva bot, Joseph? What did you put in there? Eva bot, EVA bot, what is that? You're muted. Joseph, did you put something in the comments? And you're muted.
That is not me. That's the guy called Joseph Robb. I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. Joseph Robb. Oh, well, may have left, but well, guys, we're top of the hour, and thank you guys for jumping in and for everybody participating. You know, we're all better together, and you know, learning and growing from one another, and some great discussions that some people started and threw out. So thank you all for being here. And every Tuesday we have only the first Monday do we do the mastermind. Every Tuesday, the rest of the month, we always have a top agent come on and teach a topic. I can't remember right off which one we're having next week, but it'll be good. I'm sure of that. So y'all have
a great job.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great week, and let us know how we can help you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.